Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why some people as they get older suddenly seem to shrink in size, lose their energy, or struggle with simple movements that used to be effortless? It's not always about age itself. It's about what age does to your muscles, and the truth is, after you hit the age of 60 here, there's a process happening inside your body that most people never talk about, and it's silently stealing your strength year after year. This process is called sarcopenia, and it's one of the main reasons seniors lose their independence so quickly. Now, here's the shocking part. Research shows that after the age of 60, you can lose as much as 1% of your muscle mass every year. That may not sound like much, but imagine this. If you live another 20 years, that's potentially a loss of 20% or more of your muscle. And it's not just about looking smaller or having less muscle definition. This directly affects your ability to stand up from a chair, climb a set of stairs, carry groceries, or even catch yourself if you trip. Think about that for a second. What if one small slip in the kitchen or on the sidewalk could turn into a major injury simply because your muscles weren't there to protect you? That's the hidden danger of age-related muscle loss. But let me hook you in here with something even more surprising. This muscle loss doesn't happen overnight. It starts quietly and most people don't even notice it. One day you might feel like the groceries feel heavier than before, or you're getting more tired when you walk to the mailboxer. Or maybe you used to spring out of bed with energy, and now it feels like your body weighs twice as much. These are subtle signs that your muscles are shrinking and the process has already begun. Unfortunately, many seniors brush it off as just getting older. But in reality, this is something we can slow down and in many cases even reverse. Think of muscle as the engine of your body. It's not just for strength, it's for metabolism, balance, and even brain health. The more muscle you lose, the slower your metabolism becomes, which means it's easier to gain fat, harder to burn energy, and more difficult to keep blood sugar stable. This is why so many people over 60 find themselves dealing with weight gain, diabetes killer, or insulin resistance at the same time they're losing muscle. It's all connected. Your muscles are like a metabolic sponge, soaking up sugar from the blood, burning calories, and keeping you energized. When they shrink, your whole system becomes sluggish. Now, picture this scenario: two people, both 65 years old. One of them has been paying attention to their muscle health, eating the right nutrients, staying active, supporting the role of protein before bed their body with the right recovery habits. The other has ignored it, thinking that aging just means weakness. Fast forward 10 years, the first person is 75, still strong enough to carry a bag of groceries while confidently without fear of falling, maybe even still doing light workouts or gardening. The second person, however, is struggling to get out of a chair without pushing themselves up with their hands. Their steps are slower, shakier, and a simple misstep could mean a broken bone. That difference doesn't happen by chance. It's the result of how you handle muscle loss after 60, and let me give you another hook here. Sarcopenia is not just about physical strength, it's also linked to longevity. Studies have shown that people who maintain more muscle mass as they age actually live longer, healthier lives. Why? Because muscle is protective. It supports your bones, it stabilizes your joints, and it keeps your immune system stronger. It even helps buffer against stress and inflammation. Losing muscle doesn't just make you weak, it shortens your lifespan. So, why does this happen in the first place? Well, there are several reasons. First, as we age, our bodies become less efficient at using protein. The same amount of protein that used to build muscle when you were 40 just doesn't have the same effect when you're 70. This is called anabolic resistance, and it means that unless you're giving your body a higher quality and sometimes a slightly higher amount of protein, your muscles simply won't rebuild at the same rate. Second, hormone levels change. Testosterone, growth hormone, even estrogen in women, all of these play a role in maintaining muscle, and they naturally decline with age. Third, most people simply move less as they get older. Retirement often leads to more sitting, less activity, and fewer opportunities for the muscles to stay stimulated, and when muscles aren't challenged or they shrink, here's the hook: the muscle you lose is not gone forever if you act quickly. That's the mistake many seniors make. They believe, well, I'm 65, it's too late for me, but the truth is, it is never too late. Research has proven that even people in their 80s and 90s can rebuild muscle mass with the right nutrition and activity. Your muscles are incredibly adaptable, no matter your age. The key is knowing what to do and when to do it. Let's take a moment to imagine how different your life would feel if you stopped this muscle loss. Picture yourself waking up with energy, feeling stable on your feet, able to carry out simple daily tasks with ease. Picture being able to travel, play with your grandkids, or simply enjoy your hobbies without constantly worrying about fatigue or weakness. That is possible, and it starts by understanding that this muscle loss after 60 is not inevitable. It's a warning sign, and it's one you can do something about. So the real question becomes vascular: what are you going to do about it? Are you going to let this silent thief steal your strength year after year, or are you going to take action? Supply your body with what it needs, killer, and fight back against sarcopenia. Because once you realize what's at stake, not just your muscles, but your independence, your metabolism, killer, and even your lifespan, you begin to see just how important it is to make this a priority. The time to act is not 10 years from now, it's now. Every day counts, and every night you go to bed without feeding your muscles is another night they quietly disappear. Have you ever wondered why your body feels so different after a good night's sleep compared to when you toss and turn all night? There's a reason for that, and it has everything to do with what happens to your muscles while you're asleep. Most people think sleep is just about rest, but what's really happening is that your body is going into a deep repair mode. And here's the part that most seniors don't realize: a nighttime is the single most important time for rebuilding muscle. If your body doesn't have the right fuel before you go to bed, you're missing the golden opportunity to stop muscle loss and actually grow stronger overnight. Let me hook you in with this. What if I told you that while you're sleeping, your body is either making you weaker or stronger depending on one simple choice you make before bed? That's how powerful nighttime repair is. You see, during the day you're breaking your muscles down. Every step you take, every movement you make, even the stress you carry, all of that puts tiny micro tears into your muscles. That's not a bad thing. It's how the body adapts, but here's the catch: the rebuilding doesn't happen while you're awake. It happens when you go to sleepular. And if you're missing the building blocks your muscles need at night, you wake up with less strength than you had the day before. Now, think about this for a moment. You've probably heard the saying, you don't grow in the gym, you grow in recovery. That's true. Exercise is the stimulus, but sleep is the growth phase. When you go to sleep, your body releases growth hormone, a powerful signal that tells your muscles to start repairing, rebuilding, and strengthening. But growth hormone can't do its job if the raw materials aren't sleep, growth hormone and muscle recovery there. Imagine trying to build a house with no bricks or wood. You've got the workers ready, but they've got nothing to work with. That's exactly what happens when seniors go to bed without giving their body what it needs. Here's the scary part: if your body doesn't have enough amino acids, the building blocks of protein, it still needs to fuel that repair process. So, what does it do? It starts breaking down your existing muscle tissue to get what it needs. Think about that. You're trying to recover, but instead you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Instead of building muscle, your body is stealing from the very thing you're trying to protect. That's why so many seniors wake up feeling weak, stiff, or drained. It's not just age, it's because their body is running out of the fuel it needs during those critical nighttime hours. But let me give you a hook here. You can flip this entire process around with one simple change. By supplying your body with slow-digesting protein before bed, you create a steady stream of amino acids that lasts throughout the night. This means your body doesn't have to break down muscle to get fuel. It already has what it needs. That one step can make the difference between losing strength every night and gaining it. Here's an example. Casein protein, which you'll find naturally in cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, is one of the best options because it digests slowly, releasing amino acids gradually over several hours. Compare that to something like whey protein, which is absorbed quickly and then gone within a few hours. If you take whey before bed, your body gets a short burst of amino acids and then it's empty, candid for most of the nighter. But with casein or slow-digesting protein foods, your muscles are dripped, fed nutrition all the way through the night. It's like setting up an Roman 4 of muscle fuel while you sleep, and it doesn't stop with protein. Nighttime is also when your body balances electrolytes like magnesium and potassium. These minerals are critical for muscle contractions and relaxation. Without enough magnesium, for example, you might find yourself waking up with leg cramps or restless legs. Without potassium, your muscles can feel weak and unresponsive. So if you're low in these minerals, your nighttime repair process gets disrupted. Instead of a smooth recovery, you're dealing with interruptions, cramps, or poor quality sleep that leaves you more tired in the morning. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine two seniors, both 70 years old. They both go to bed at the same time, but one of them has a small serving of cottage cheese with a sprinkle of magnesium-rich pumpkin seeds before bed. The other has nothing, maybe just a cup of tea. Fast forward to the morning, the first person wakes up refreshed. Their muscles have been supplied with amino acids all night long. Their repair process was smooth and they feel stronger. The second person wakes up groggy. Their body had to break down muscle tissue to get amino acids. Their recovery was incomplete and they feel weaker. Multiply that difference by 365 nights a year, and you can see how one person maintains their strength into their 70s and 80s while the other slowly deteriorates. Now, let's address a common question I hear all the time. Killer, but isn't eating before bed bad for you? That depends on what you're eating. If you're eating sugar, refined carbs, or heavy meals, yes, that can spike insulin and cause weight gain, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about strategic nutrition, protein, and minerals that feed your muscles without causing insulin spikes. In fact, slow digesting protein has been shown to improve metabolism and fat burning while you sleep because your body is working harder to digest and use it. So, not only are you protecting your muscles, but you're also supporting your metabolism at the same time. Here's another hook for you. Did you know that poor nighttime nutrition is one of the hidden reasons seniors struggle with falls? Balance and stability depend heavily on strong leg muscles, but if you're losing muscle every single night, your legs are literally shrinking while you sleep. That makes falls and fractures almost inevitable. On the flip side, seniors who focus on nighttime repair not only maintain stronger muscles, but also significantly reduce their risk of falling. And when you think about how dangerous a fall can be at 70 or 80 years old, this one step becomes life-saving, not just strength-saving. And it's not just about muscles. Nighttime repair also affects your brain. Deep sleep combined with steady amino acids improves memory, mood, and cognitive function. Killer seniors who don't get this steady repair often wake up with brain fog, low energy, and poor focus. Again, it's not just age, it's chemistry. Your brain needs those amino acids to make neurotransmitters that keep you sharp and positive. So, let me ask you this. What if you could take control of the 8 hours you're already spending in bed and turn them into the most powerful anti-aging therapy available? You're already sleeping, skiller, so why not make that time work for you instead of against you by simply giving your body what it needs before bed? You're literally programming your night to rebuild your muscles, strengthen your bones, improve your balance, and boost your brain. That's not just better sleep, that's better living. Here's something most people never think about. And not all proteins are the same, and not all proteins work the same way in your body. In fact, the type of protein you consume before bed can determine whether your muscles are preserved and strengthened or whether they continue to disappear overnight. And the difference comes down to one key factor: how fast or slow that protein digests. This is the hidden secret that can make or break your muscle health after the age of 60. Let me hook you with this. Imagine you're about to go on a long road trip. You have two choices for fueling your car. One is a small shot of fuel that burns out after a few miles, leaving you stranded. The other is a slow, steady drip of fuel that keeps your engine running smoothly for hours. Which one would you choose? Obviously, the second. Your muscles are no different. If you give them a quick burst of amino acids that disappears in 2 or 3 hours, the tank runs dry in the middle of the night. But if you give them a slow digesting protein, it's like fueling your body with a steady supply all night long. Now, here's why this matters so much for seniors. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at synthesizing protein. That means your amino acids and nighttime repair muscles need a constant supply of amino acids just to maintain themselves, let alone grow stronger. During the day, you might get that supply from meals, but at night when you go 6 or 8, even 9 hours without eating, your muscles are essentially fasting. If there's no fuel in the system, your body goes into breakdown mode, pulling amino acids from your own muscle tissue. That's how sarcopenia or age-related muscle loss accelerates. But here's the exciting part. You can stop that breakdown by choosing the right type of protein before you sleep. Let's compare two of the most common proteins people use. Whey protein and casein protein. Whey is fast digesting. Within about an hour, it floods your bloodstream with amino acids. That's great if you've just exercised and want immediate repair, but it doesn't last long. After a couple of hours, those amino acid levels drop sharply. Casein, on the other hand, digests much more slowly, releasing amino acids gradually for up to 7 or 8 hours. That means while you're sleeping, your muscles are never empty. They're being fed consistently, like a slow Roman IV drip of nutrients. That's the secret to waking up stronger instead of weaker. Here's a hook that really drives this home. Think of your muscles as construction workers building a house. Whey protein is like dropping off all the bricks at once and then leaving. The workers get busy, but after a while they run out of supplies and have to stop. Casein protein is like having a truck deliver bricks every hour throughout the night. The workers never run out, and the house keeps getting built without interruption. Which scenario would you rather have for your body? Now, let's talk about real foods because not everyone wants to buy a tub of protein powder. The good news is that you can get slow digesting proteins from natural foods. Cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, and even kefir are excellent sources of casein protein. These foods not only deliver that steady stream of amino acids, but also come with additional nutrients like calcium and probiotics, which support digestion and bone health. And since bone strength and muscle strength go hand in hand, that's a double benefit for seniors. But let me give you another angle here. Slow digesting protein doesn't just protect your muscles, it also keeps you from feeling hungry at night. Many seniors struggle with nighttime cravings, reaching for cookies, crackers, or sugary snacks before bed. But when you have a serving of slow digesting protein, it stabilizes your blood sugar and keeps you satisfied. That means you're less likely to raid the pantry and sabotage your health with empty calories. In other words, this one habit helps your muscles, your metabolism, and your appetite control all at once. Now, here's a little science for you because I know many of you like to understand how this works. When you eat protein, your body breaks it down into amino acids. These amino acids are used to repair and rebuild muscle fibers, create enzymes, and support your immune system. But the problem with fast proteins is that they spike amino acid levels quickly, but those levels fall just as fast, leaving a gap. With slow proteins, amino acid levels rise more gradually and stay elevated for hours, preventing that dangerous gap. And here's the hooker. Studies show that people who consume slow digesting protein before bed not only maintain more muscle mass, but also increase fat burning during the night compared to those who consume nothing or only fast proteins. That means you're literally reshaping your body while you sleep. Let me paint a vivid picture for you. Imagine two people, both 70 years old, both trying to maintain their strength. One of them ends their day with nothing but a cup of tea. They go to bed, and for 8 hours their body is pulling amino acids from their muscles to survive. They wake up a little weaker, killer, a little stiffer, and the cycle repeats night after night. The other person ends their day with a small bowl of cottage cheese sprinkled with magnesium-rich almonds. While they sleepular, their muscles are being fed amino acids hour after hour. Their repair processes run smoothly, and they wake up stronger, more energized, and more stable on their feet. Fast forward 10 years here, and you can see the difference. One person struggles to stand from a chair without help, while the other still walks confidently, carries groceries, and enjoys life. That's the power of slow digesting protein, and let's not forget something else. Muscle is more than strength, it's your anti-aging organ. The more muscle you preserve, the better your insulin sensitivity. The more energy you have, the stronger your immune system stays. Muscle even acts as a reservoir for amino acids during times of stress or illness. So, protecting it with the right protein at night isn't just about looking stronger, it's about giving your body a survival advantage as you age. Now, some of you might be wondering, but what if I can't tolerate dairy? That's a good question. Not everyone digests cottage cheese or yogurt. Well, in that case, there are alternatives. Plant-based proteins like pea protein can be blended with fiber-rich foods like chia seeds to slow down their absorption. Even combining a protein source with healthy fats like nuts or seeds can create a slower release effect that mimics casein. The key isn't necessarily the specific food, but the principle. But you want protein that doesn't rush through your system, but supports you steadily throughout the night. Here's another hook. Your muscles don't care how old you are. They care about whether or not they're being fed. There are studies showing that even people in their 80s and 90s can gain strength and muscle mass with the right protein strategy. That means it's never too late to start. Every single night you choose slow digesting protein is a night you're investing in strength, independence, and longevity. Killer. So let me ask you, if you knew that a simple habit before bed could mean the difference between waking up weaker or waking up stronger, would you make that change? Of course you would, and the beauty of it is it's not complicated. It doesn't require expensive supplements, long workouts, or dramatic lifestyle changes. It's as simple as making a smarter choice about what you eat before you go to bed. That's the secret to protecting your muscles after 60. And it's one of the most powerful anti-aging tools you have right at your fingertips. Most people think about protein when they think about building muscle, and that's true. Protein is critical, but here's what almost nobody talks about. Without the right minerals, your muscles can't actually use that protein properly. It's like having a car with a full tank of gas, but no spark plugs. The fuel is there, but the engine won't run. And this is one of the most overlooked reasons why seniors lose muscle so quickly. You might be eating enough protein, but if you're low in certain minerals, your body simply can't build or maintain muscle. Let me hook you with this. Imagine you're trying to send a text message. You've got the phone. You've typed the message, but the signal bars are missing. No matter how many times you press send, the message won't go through. That's exactly what happens in your body without the right minerals. You have the nutrients, the amino acids, the desire to rebuild, preventing overnight muscle breakdown, but the signal isn't getting through. The minerals are the signal. They allow the process of contraction, relaxation, and rebuilding to actually happen. One of the most important minerals in this process is magnesium. Magnesium is responsible for more than 300 biochemical reactions in your body, and a huge number of those involve your muscles. Without enough magnesium, your muscles can't relax properly. That's why low magnesium often shows up as cramping, twitching, or restless legs at night. But here's the deeper problem. Magnesium is also required for making ATP, which is your body's energy currency. Every muscle contraction requires ATP, and without magnesium, ATP doesn't even get activated. That means even if you have energy stored, all your muscles can't use it. Imagine having a bank account full of money but no debit card. You can't access it. That's what magnesium deficiency looks like inside your muscles. Now, let's talk about potassium. Potassium is like the electricity that runs through your muscles. Every time a muscle contracts, potassium moves in and out of the muscle cellular, creating the spark that makes the contraction possible. Low potassium means weak contractions, poor endurance, and even heart rhythm problems. And here's the hook. The most seniors are deficient in potassium. Not because they don't eat at all, but because they don't eat enough potassium, rich foods like leafy greens, avocados, or salmonellar. Add to that the fact that many blood pressure medications deplete potassium, and you've got a perfect recipe for muscle weakness. Then there's vitamin D. Technically, vitamin D is more of a hormone than a vitamin, but it plays a massive role in muscle strength. Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium, which is essential for muscle contraction, but it also directly influences the genes that control muscle growth. In fact, seniors who are deficient in vitamin D often experience muscle weakness, fatigue, and higher rates of falls. Here's the shocking part. Studies show that up to 70% of older adults are deficient in vitamin D, especially if they don't spend much time in the sun. That means 7 out of 10 seniors are unknowingly handicapping their muscles every single day. Let me give you a real-world picture. Think about your muscles as an orchestra. Protein is the musician's killer. They're the ones playing the instruments, producing the sound, but the minerals are the conductor. Without the conductor, the musicians are all out of sync. The music is chaotic, messy, and ineffective. But when the conductor is there, everything flows smoothly, the timing is perfect, and the performance is powerful. That's the role minerals play in your body. Without them, a protein doesn't build muscle effectively. It just sits there wasted. Now, here's another hook. Most people assume they can just take a multivitamin and cover their bases. But it's not that simple. Minerals don't work in isolation, and the form you take them in matters. For example, magnesium oxide, which is found in many cheap supplements, is barely absorbular. You might only get 4% of it into your bloodstream. That means you could be swallowing pills every day and still staying deficient. What you really need are food-based minerals or highly absorbable forms like magnesium glycinate or citrate. The same goes for potassium. You can't just pop a potassium pill at the pharmacy. It's heavily regulated and the doses are tiny. The best way to get potassium is through your diet: big salads, leafy greens, avocados, mushrooms, and fish. And here's something fascinating. Seniors often mistake the symptoms of mineral deficiency for normal aging: fatigue, muscle weakness, cramps, poor sleep, even mood swings. These are all signs of low magnesium, potassium, or vitamin D. But instead of addressing the root cause, people accept it as just getting older. That's not aging, that's deficiency. And once you correct those deficiencies, the difference can be dramatic. I've seen people go from barely being able to walk across the room without fatigue to regaining their energy and stability just by fixing their mineral intake. Let me paint a scenario for you. 2 people, both in their late 60s. One of them pays no attention to minerals. Their diet is mostly processed foods, maybe a piece of bread, some pasta, maybe a little meat, very few vegetables, very little sun exposure, no supplementation. This person is constantly tired. Their legs feel heavy, and they deal with cramps almost every night. They think it's just part of aging, but in reality, their muscles are starving for electrolytes. The other person makes it a priority to get mineral-rich foods every day. They eat leafy greens, they spend time in the sun, and they add magnesium-rich nuts and seeds to their meals. They may even take a high-quality supplement if needed. This person wakes up energized, they have stable balance, and their muscles respond when they need them. 10 years down the line, the first person is frail and dependent while the second is still strong and independent. Same age, same potential, totally different outcomes, all because of minerals, and it's not just about your muscles. It's about your nerves too. Your nervous system relies on electrolytes like sodium, potassium, killer, and magnesium to send signals. If those signals are weak, your muscles can't fire properly. That's why low minerals can cause not just weakness, but clumsiness, shakiness, and poor coordination. Killer, imagine trying to run a computer with low battery and bad internet connection. It's going to lag, freeze, and malfunction. That's your nervous system without enough minerals. Here's another angle. Your sleep is deeply affected by these minerals. Magnesium helps calm the nervous system and promotes deep sleep. Potassium helps prevent night cramps that wake you up. Vitamin D regulates melatonin production, which controls your sleep-wake cycle. If you're not sleeping well, your muscle repair is compromised and the cycle of weakness continues. But with the right mineral balance, your sleep improves, your recovery improves, and your muscles finally get the chance to rebuild. So, let me ask you this. If you knew that the strength of your legs, the steadiness of your balance, the clarity of your mind, and even the quality of your sleep all depended on a handful of minerals, would you make sure you were getting enough of them? Of course you would. And the beauty of it is these minerals aren't rare or exotic. They're found in everyday foods that are how seniors can improve sleep and energy affordable and accessible. The problem is that most people don't prioritize them, and they pay the price in weakness, frailty, and fatigue. But the moment you do prioritize them, you unlock a level of strength and vitality that most people think is gone after 60. And that's the truth most seniors need to hear. Think of your muscles as a bank account. Every single day, you're either making deposits or withdrawals. And just like your financial account, if you keep taking more out than you're putting in, eventually you go broke. For your muscles, that means weakness, frailty, and the slow decline into sarcopenia. But if you learn how to make consistent deposits, you can actually build your account bigger, stronger, and more resilient even after the age of 60. Here's the hook. Most seniors are living on a negative balance when it comes to their muscle banker. They don't even realize it because the withdrawals are small at first. You lose a little strength here, a little balance there. Maybe you get more tired when you climb stairs or carrying groceries feels heavier than it used to. That's a withdrawal. It doesn't feel like a big deal at first, but over time, those small withdrawals add up. By the time most people realize what's happening, their account is nearly empty, and rebuilding it takes serious effort, but the key is this: you don't have to let your muscle account run dry in the first place. So what are the withdrawals? Every time you're inactive, that's a withdrawal. Every time you eat processed food instead of nutrient-dense food, that's a withdrawal. Stress hormones like cortisol also act like big withdrawals, breaking down muscle tissue to release energy. And of course, aging itself puts a steady drain on your muscle account because your body becomes less efficient at synthesizing protein. So the older you get, the more withdrawals are happening automatically. If you don't counteract that with deposits, your account is shrinking every single night while you sleep. Now, let's talk about deposits because this is where the good news comes in. Deposits are things that build your muscle account back up. Every time you consume high-quality protein, that's a deposit. Every time you get your essential minerals, magnesium, potassium, vitamin D, that's a deposit. Resistance exercise, even light body weight exercise, acts like a deposit. Quality sleep is another deposit because it allows your body to use the nutrients you've given it to actually rebuild. Think about how empowering that is. Every single day, you have multiple chances to either put money into your account or drain it. And you are the one making that decision. Here's a powerful hook. What if you treated your muscles with the same seriousness you treat your savings account? Most people are very careful with money. They track their expenses. They plan their savings and they feel anxious if their account gets too low. But when it comes to their muscles, they don't even look at the balance. They ignore the warning signs, they spend recklessly with poor habits. And then one day they wake up broke, unable to stand from a chair, unable to carry their own body weight, unable to live independently. The tragedy is that it's preventable. If you treat your muscle account with the same discipline you treat your finances, you'll never go broke physically. Now, let's make this practical. Imagine two seniors, both 70 years old. One of them makes regular deposits. They eat nutrient-dense meals. They add a slow-digesting protein before bed. They walk daily. And maybe they do some light strength training a few times a week. Their balance is strong, their withdrawals are covered, and their muscle account grows. The other senior does none of that. They eat mostly bread, pasta, and snacks. They watch TV for hours and they don't think about minerals or protein at all. Withdrawals are happening every day and no deposits are being made. Fast forward 10 years and the first person still has a strong, healthy balance. They can still carry groceries, travel, and play with their grandkids. The second person is bankrupt. They need help just getting around the house. Their independence is gone and their body is fragile. That's the difference deposits make. Let me share another hook here. Your muscle account doesn't just affect your strength. It affects your metabolism, your hormones, and even your brain. Muscle is one of the most metabolically active tissues in your body. The more muscle you have, the better your blood sugar control, the more energy you burn at rest, killer, and the more resilient your body becomes to stress. It's like having an investment account that pays you interest every day. More muscle equals more energy, better health, and longer life. Less muscle equals fatigue, weakness, and a faster decline. Which account do you want to live off of? And here's something fascinating. Deposits don't have to be huge, smaller. Consistent deposits add up over time. For example, having a cup of cottage cheese before bed is a small deposit. Doing 10 minutes of resistance bands while watching TV is a small deposit. You're adding a handful of spinach or an avocado to your meal for extra potassium is a small deposit. None of these alone feels like a dramatic change, but together, day after day, they compound into a massive difference. Just like compound interest in finance, small consistent deposits in your muscle account create exponential growth over the years, but withdrawals, if left unchecked, also compound. Let's say you spend 10 years eating a nutrient-poor diet, being mostly sedentary and ignoring sleep quality. That's like draining your savings account every day without ever checking your balance. By the time you notice, the account is empty. The problem is that when your muscle account is bankrupt, your body becomes extremely fragile. Even a small fall can lead to a fracture. Even a mild illness can cause severe weakness, and recovery becomes much harder. That's why frailty in seniors often feels like it comes suddenly. It didn't happen overnight. It was 10 or 20 years of withdrawals with no deposits. Let's take this a step further. Your muscle account isn't just for you. It protects your independence. Think about what independence means. Being able to get up without help, being able to walk to the store, being able to cook your own meals and take care of yourself. Every time you lose muscle, you lose a piece of that independence. But every time you make a deposit here, you buy yourself more years of freedom, more years of living on your own terms, more years of enjoying life without depending on others. That's the real value of a strong balance in your muscle account. Here's another hook to keep in mind. You don't need a perfect strategy to win this game. You just need consistency. Just like with money, saving a little every day builds wealth. With muscles, making small deposits every day builds strength. The people who fail are not the ones who don't know what to do, but the ones who don't do it consistently. And the people who succeed are the ones who make it a daily habit, even if the deposits are small. So, let me ask you, what's the balance in your muscle account right now? Are you in the positive, steadily growing, or are you dipping into the negative without realizing it? Every day you have the power to decide. Will you let aging, inactivity, and poor nutrition drain your account, or will you build it, protect it, and let it grow? The choice is yours, and the truth is, no matter how old you are, no matter how much you've already lost, you can still start making deposits today. Your muscle account is always open, and it's always maintaining strength and independence after 60, ready to grow if you give it what it needs. Have you ever thought about what independence really means? For many people, independence is the ability to live life on your own terms, to wake up and move through your day without needing someone else to help you. It's the freedom to walk to your kitchen, to bend down and tie your shoes, to carry a bag of groceries, or even just to get out of bed without support. Independence is something most of us take for granted until it begins to slip away. And here's the truth. One of the strongest predictors of how long you can remain independent as you age is not your bank account, not your IQ, and not even your genetics. It's the strength of your muscles. Here's the hook. Your muscles are the currency of independence. The stronger your muscles, the more years you can live on your own terms. The weaker your muscles, the faster your independence disappears. It really is that simple, and yet most people overlook this until it's too late. They wait until they're already struggling to get out of a chair, until they need a cane, until walking up the stairs feels like climbing a mountain. That's when reality hits. But the good news is you can change the trajectory. You can preserve and even rebuild the muscle that gives you the gift of independence. Think about something as basic as standing up from a chair. You may not realize it, but that simple act requires coordination between your quadriceps, glutes, and core muscles. When those muscles are strong, you don't even think about it, you just stand. But when those muscles are weak, standing becomes a struggle. Suddenly, you need to push off with your hands. You need to brace yourself, or you can't stand at all without help. That moment when you can no longer rise from a chair on your own often marks the beginning of lost independence. The truth is, people don't usually lose independence because of sudden illness. They lose it because of a slow, steady decline in muscle strength that sneaks up on them. Killer. Now, here's another powerful hook. Muscle strength is one of the greatest predictors of longevity and quality of life. There are studies showing that grip strength killer. Something as simple as how firmly you can squeeze someone's hand is a better predictor of mortality than blood pressure or even cholesterol. Why? Because grip strength is a window into overall muscle strength, and muscle strength is directly tied to whether you can live independently or not. If you lose strength, you lose mobility. If you lose mobility, you lose independence. And when independence goes, health declines rapidly. Imagine two seniors, both in their late 70s. One has maintained strong leg muscles. They can get out of bed, walk across the room, and climb stairs with confidence. They still travel, cook their own meals, and take care of their own needs. The other senior has allowed muscle weakness to take over. Getting up from a chair requires help. Walking across the room is exhausting. They rely on others for basic tasks. The difference between these two lives isn't genetics, it's the strength of their muscles. Here's something fascinating. Strong muscles don't just allow you to move. They protect you from falls, one of the biggest threats to independence in seniors. Every year, millions of older adults fall, and many of those falls result in fractures that completely change their lives. A fractured hip, for example, is often the beginning of a downward spiral into assisted living or complete dependence on others. But falls don't just happen randomly. They happen because balance is lost, and balance is heavily dependent on muscle strength. Strong legs, a strong core, and even strong ankles act like stabilizers. They keep you upright when you stumble. They allow you to catch yourself, and they reduce the risk of injury. In other words, muscle strength acts like an insurance policy against losing your independence overnight. And let's not forget energy. Independence requires energy, and energy requires muscle. Think about how exhausting it is for someone with weak muscles to do even simple tasks: cooking, cleaning, shopping, or walking to the mailbox. Because their muscles are weak, everything feels harder. It's not just physical weakness, it's fatigue, frustration, and eventually giving up. But when your muscles are strong, tasks feel easier. You conserve energy, and you're able to do more with less effort. Strong muscles don't just support your body, they energize your entire life. Here's another hook to grab you. Muscle is not just about movement, it's also a metabolic organ. Muscles store glucose, regulate blood sugar, and keep your metabolism active. When you lose muscle, you don't just lose strength, you lose metabolic health. That means higher blood sugar, more insulin resistance, and a greater risk of diabetes. And once those conditions set in, they bring fatigue, neuropathy, and complications that further rob you of independence. So when you build and protect your muscles, you're not just preserving strength, you're preserving your metabolic independence as well. Let me give you an image. Picture your independence like a candle. Every year as you age, that candle burns a little shorter, but strong muscles are like adding wax back onto the candle. They don't stop the process of aging, but they slow it down dramatically. They give you more light, more years of mobility, more time living on your own terms. Weak muscles, on the other hand, act like a gust of wind that blows the candle out sooner than it needs to be, and here's where the mindset shift comes in. Most people think independence is just about avoiding nursing homes or assisted living. But independence is about so much more than that. It's about dignity, it's about confidence, it's about the ability to live your life the way you want without waiting on someone else to do everything for you. Independence means choosing when to eat, when to final advice for seniors before bed sleep, where to go, and how to spend your day, and all of that is tied to the strength of your muscles. Now, here the beautiful part is that your muscles can respond at any age. You don't have to accept weakness as your fate. Even in your 70s, 80s, or 90s, your muscles can adapt, grow, killer, and strengthen. I've seen seniors in their 80s start a resistance training routine and gain back the strength to walk without a cane, to stand tall again, and to regain their independence. Your body is always ready to adapt if you give it the right stimulus. So, let me ask you, how much is your independence worth to you? Would you be willing to invest a little time every day to protect it? Would you be willing to add a nutrient-dense meal, a bedtime protein source, or a few minutes of strength-building exercise? Because that's all it takes. The deposits you make today in your muscle strength will pay you back tomorrow in freedom. And here's the hook I want you to remember. Independence doesn't disappear overnight. It slips away slowly, one weak muscle at a time, but the reverse is also true. Independence can be rebuilt slowly, one strong muscle at a time. Every step you take, every nutrient-dense meal you eat, every time you challenge your muscles, you're not just building strength. You're buying yourself more years of freedom, more years of living life on your own terms, more years of independence.